Hey guys, how's it going? Laura with Garden Answer. Today I want to give you 5 tips to help you out when you're planting a new area in your garden or revamping an old area, which is what I'm doing today. So the first tip is to check for winter interest. Basically, what does that area look like when there's snow on the ground? Do you have a beautiful evergreen or a container or a tree or something still there when all the blooms are gone? So in my spot right here, I have a fence which does count as winter interest because it is structure, and I also have a pagoda dogwood with Russell up in it right now. But this is a beautiful structure in the winter time, and I do know in the future I'm going to be adding a container right here with an evergreen topiary, so I should have plenty of winter interest. The second tip is to assess the light in the area. It's super important to know whether or not you're dealing with full sun, full shade, or somewhere in between. You want to pick the proper plants so that you have success with them. This area right here, even though I do have a tree right here, it gets full on afternoon sun, and then it gets the radiant heat from part of our gravel driveway here. So we have to keep that in mind when I'm choosing plants. The third tip is to make sure irrigation is in place, which you can see I do have some drip tubing running through here, but it's not super consistent. I'm gonna have to maybe add an extra little bit in here. It's just a good idea to do that before you plant things, because then you're not having to work the tubing around your plants. It just makes it a lot easier when it's already in place, and you don't want to have to become a slave to watering during the summertime. The fourth tip is to diversify your bloom color and your foliage color. Even in a small area like this, like maybe I'm dealing with 8 feet, 6 feet, and it's kind of an arc, I want to make sure that it's pretty all year round. So I do have some winter interest going on. This is a pagoda dogwood tree, so it has green leaves. So knowing that, when I go in to choose my anchor piece right here, I'm going to go with something red so that they contrast each other, so that they are set apart from each other. And also when I go in with my perennials here, I've chosen 2 different kinds that will overlap blooms a little bit, but one starts late spring and goes to midsummer, and then the other one starts midsummer and goes through the rest of the season. So I make sure to have color all throughout the whole year, and I think that's really important so that you just have something beautiful and you can enjoy all the areas in your garden all the time. And the last tip is to layer. So most flower beds have a natural back to them. They're either up against a building or a fence like this, or the back part of your yard. And so if you layer plants, you start with tall ones first and work your way down. That way you can see each plant individually. There's nothing blocking anything else. If you have a flower bed that you see from both sides, you do your tallest piece usually in the center and kind of go down on either side so that it kind of creates almost a wall or a back in and of itself right through the center. So every area is a little bit different, but those are 5 things that I always check for in every single area before I start. So let me explain what I'm going to do today. There's a couple of daylilies right here. I don't even know what variety they are. They were here when we moved in, and there's a hardy geranium there. So all 3 of those I'm going to dig out, and then I'm going to leave all the tulips here. And then other than that, this whole area will be completely bare. Then I'm going to come in with some irrigation and take care of that before I place my plants. I want to make sure the water is on point. So I've got all the drip tubing run, and what I ended up doing was tearing all of the old stuff out, and I just connected right here with my new stuff. So I cut all of the old existing stuff because it had hard water, was plugging some of the emitters, and it wasn't run very consistently. So I just figured pulling all of it out and starting brand new is never a bad idea. So it starts here, and then it kind of just wraps around in a circle until it ends right here. And it's actually kind of nice too, because I was able to not run any drip tubing over on this part right here because I don't want any weeds to grow. And once the tree leaves out, you can't even see this spot right here. The next thing I do need to do, I noticed that I have a couple of dead branches in here, so I'm going to clean this tree up, and then I will place my plants and show you everything I'm going to put in this spot. So by a couple branches, I mean a whole pile. I got to looking at the tree, and I really haven't done any maintenance on it in the past couple of years. And this is what happens. So I'm gonna haul all of this away, and then I'm gonna place all my plants and show you what I've got. All right guys, so I've got 3 different kinds of plants in this area. So I'm gonna start with my back layer first. This is my taller layer. This is called a ginger wine 9-bark. beautiful, beautiful bronze, kind of orangey red color, which is a great contrast to everything else that's going to be in this area. It grows about 5 to 6 feet tall and wide, and I'm backing it up to this fence because I want to utilize some of the color on the other side of the fence too. So if some of the branches grow in between, that's even better. That's perfect. These are a zone 3 through 7, so very winter hardy, and they do bloom as well, like late spring through early summer. White clusters of blooms that turn into red seed heads, so very pretty interest there. And it also counts as winter interest because 9-barks get their name because of the peeling nature of their bark. Their bark is beautiful to look at in the wintertime. So my next layer down is a really interesting plant. I'm so excited for you guys to see this. This is a new one this year called Stand By Me Clematis. It's a bush type clematis instead of vining. They grow about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide. So this will be a stair step down from my 9-bark. They have the most gorgeous purple bell-shaped flowers. And I think that that's going to be a really pretty color back here. Zone 3 through 7 on these as well, so very, very winter hardy. Now you can see that they come with staking, or stakes I should say, in the pot. So I'm going to leave those on or around these plants for this year, and then I might graduate to a larger size ring next year to help support them. They do benefit from being supported, or once this area grows up and fills in, I can probably remove all supports altogether because they'll support each other. If they can kind of lean on each other a little bit, they don't need to be staked. But this first year, since they're all baby plants, I'm going to leave those on. The next layer down are orange smoothie daylilies, and I put a bunch over here because I really wanted to make a statement, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. When you use too many different varieties of plants in an area, it can really be distracting. So it's a good idea to pick just a few varieties, maybe 2, 3, 4 maybe at max, and just mass plant them so that it just is a striking effect. So I've got, I don't know, 9 or 10 daylilies here that bloom midsummer and then they rebloom later on in the season, kind of a peachy orange bloom. And these grow about 20 to 24 inches tall, so this will be another stair step down from the clematis. So I should have a very nice layered effect in this area. Both of these plants attract hummingbirds, and their bloom times are a little bit staggered. So this one blooms late spring through midsummer. This one blooms midsummer and then again later in the season. So there should be a time, like a short window, where they're blooming together, and it should be beautiful. But I'm glad that they have different bloom seasons because it'll be beautiful all summer long. I'm really excited about this area. So I'm just gonna get these all in the ground and then we'll see what it looks like.